He wasn't supposed to be in the sky. Too old. No college degree. Rejected on his first try. When America joined World War I, Edward Rickenbacker wasn't a soldier. He was General Pershing's driver, a mechanic, a racecar guy with a chip on his shoulder and a hunger to prove himself. But by the time the war ended, the world called him Captain Eddie, and he had gunned down more enemy planes than any American pilot in history, 26 confirmed kills. He had no formal education, no elite background, just relentless drive, fearless instincts, and an unshakable belief that the sky was his true home. How did a man with no military background become the US's deadliest ace? What made him dive into a swarm of enemy aircraft alone? And how did he survive not one, but two brushes with death, including a 21-day nightmare stranded in the Pacific during World War II? This isn't just a story of dogfights and medals, it's about grit, daring, and the iron will of a man who refused to be ordinary, a man who started in the shadows and ended up shaping American aviation. This is the untold story of Captain Eddie Rickenbacker, the ace who should have never made it off the ground. Edward Rickenbacker was born in Columbus, Ohio, in 1890, the son of Swiss immigrants and one of 7 children. His childhood wasn't easy. After his father died when Eddie was just 13, he dropped out of school to support his family. He worked with machines, fixed cars, and taught himself everything he could about engines and speed. By his 20s, Rickenbacker had become one of America's top race car drivers, earning fame on the track with raw speed, fearless reflexes, and nerves of steel. But when World War I broke out, speed alone wasn't enough. Eddie wanted to fight, not just sit on the sidelines and support. There was just one problem. The military didn't want him. He lacked the education. He wasn't an officer, and he was 27 years old by aviation standards. He was rejected outright. But Eddie didn't give up. He used his racing fame to get a job as General John J. Pershing's driver. And once embedded in the military structure, he made his move. Rickenbacker begged to be transferred to the Air Service. Even when he was only assigned as a mechanic, he kept pushing. Finally, they let him fly. He enrolled in the aviation training school in France, and despite no formal education, he passed every test thrown at him. He earned his commission as a first lieutenant and later worked under Karl Spatz, who would become a legendary figure in World War II. Though Spatz tried to keep him grounded as an engineer, Eddie wouldn't be denied. In March 1918, he got his wish. He joined the 94th Aero Squadron, known as the Hat in the Ring Squadron, flying with legends like Raoul Lufberry. From school dropout to combat pilot, Rickenbacker had defied the odds. But the skies over Europe were merciless, and the real test was only beginning. Rickenbacker's combat debut came in April 1918, flying a Nieuport 28 over the battle-scarred fields of France. The 94th Aero Squadron had just been formed, and morale was fragile. But Eddie, still considered the outsider, was determined to prove he belonged. His first confirmed kill came on April 29th, a German Albatross. He shot it out of the sky with surgical precision. Just a month later, on May 28th, he downed his 5th enemy aircraft, earning the coveted title of Ace. He was the first American-trained pilot to accomplish this feat. But it wasn't all victory laps. Just 2 days after becoming an ace, he developed a severe mastoid infection, a painful, dangerous condition near the ear. It grounded him for nearly 2 months. While others were flying missions and adding kills to their records, Rickenbacker was stuck in a Paris hospital, unsure if he'd fly again. The downtime tortured him, and he vowed that if he ever got back in the air, he'd make every mission count. When he finally returned to the squadron in late summer, he came back stronger, more focused, and even more aggressive in the air. He took risks, but never recklessly. His style was calculated and cold. He would observe enemy formations, analyze their weaknesses, and strike with brutal timing. It was war as chess, played at 15,000 feet. In September, Rickenbacker brought down 6 enemy aircraft and a balloon. But October would be his masterpiece. 14 enemy kills in a single month. Every dawn mission was another roll of the dice, and Eddie kept winning. By the time the war was winding down, Eddie Rickenbacker was a legend. Not just because he was deadly, but because he led from the front. His courage lifted everyone around him. Rickenbacker's most significant act of valor came on September 25, 1918. Flying solo near Billy, France, he spotted 7 enemy aircraft, 5 Fokkers and 2 Halberstadt fighters. Anyone else would have turned back, but not Eddie. He dove straight into the formation. With nerves of ice, he shot 1 Fokker out of control and then downed 1 of the Halberstadts. 2 kills in a single pass, completely outnumbered. It earned him the Medal of Honor and cemented his legend, but his heroism wasn't a one-day event. Between April and October 1918, Rickenbacker earned 8 Distinguished Service Crosses. In one mission, he attacked 5 enemy planes over Jalny, shot one down, and drove off the others. In another, he intercepted 6 Fokkers attacking 4 Allied Spads and scattered them after flaming one mid-air. Again and again, he chose the hard path, the dangerous flight, the suicidal mission, because he knew someone had to. His courage became contagious. His unit, the 94th Aero Squadron, racked up 69 confirmed victories by the war's end, many under his leadership. By the time the armistice was signed, Rickenbacker had logged over 300 combat hours, more than any other U.S. pilot. He had 26 confirmed victories, and perhaps most important of all, every man in his squadron came home alive under his command. The press hailed him as America's ace of aces. But Eddie didn't bask in the spotlight. He refused a general's promotion, and when offered the honorary title of colonel, he turned it down. Why? Because he didn't want to be remembered as anything other than Captain Eddie, the same rank he held when he was leading men, risking everything, and flying straight into hell so others didn't have to. For Rickenbacker, honor wasn't found in rank or ceremony. It was earned in the air alone, outnumbered and unflinching. After the war, Rickenbacker could have retired into comfort and prestige. Instead, he jumped headfirst into America's next great frontier, aviation. He founded the Rickenbacker Motor Company, blending his love for speed with innovation. But his true calling remained in the skies. In 1935, he joined Eastern Airlines, and over the next 2 decades transformed it from a struggling division into one of the most successful commercial airlines in America. He became not just a pilot, but a visionary CEO and eventually chairman of the board. But even in peace, danger wasn't far behind. In 1942, during World War II, Rickenbacker volunteered for a morale-boosting mission to visit American troops in the Pacific. En route, his plane suffered mechanical failure and ditched into the ocean. Rickenbacker and 6 other men were stranded on life rafts for 21 days, nearly 3 weeks of blistering sun, starvation, dehydration, and hallucinations. He rationed what little food they had. He caught rainwater with his clothes, and when morale plummeted, it was Rickenbacker who kept the men alive with sheer willpower. "You can't afford to give up," he told them, "because someone else is counting on you to hold it together." They survived, and when they were rescued, Eddie was back at work right away. He served as an advisor during World War II, inspected war zones firsthand, and helped plan the future of military aviation. His insights shaped American air power for years to come, both tactically and strategically. On the last day of 1963, Rickenbacker retired from Eastern Airlines more than 40 years after his first combat flight. But he never lost the fire. To the very end, he believed that courage, duty, and endurance weren't just battlefield values, they were how you lived, how you led, and how you left your mark. Edward Rickenbacker died on July 23, 1973, in Zurich, Switzerland. He was 82 years old, but his legacy never landed. He wasn't born to be a hero. He wasn't handed any of it. No fancy school, no fast track, just relentless grit, self-taught brilliance, and an iron will. From fixing cars in Ohio to facing down squadrons of German fighters, to leading one of the most iconic commercial airlines in the world, his life was proof that greatness is earned, not granted. He fought for every chance, rose from every rejection, and never forgot where he came from. And even at the height of fame and power, he held on to the one thing that truly mattered, being the kind of man others could count on. To generations of Americans, he was Captain Eddie. Not colonel, not general, just captain, because that's who flew the missions, who risked everything, and who never stopped leading from the front. If his story moved you even a little, take a moment to honor that kind of grit. Like this video, share it with someone who loves history, and subscribe to the channel for more real stories of courage and character. Captain Eddie flew high. Let's make sure his story never falls.